What's your name and where are you from?
My name's Samarah, aka Mara, and I'm from the Bay Area.
Okay, Bay Area. I want to start with the many amazing creative things you do. I noticed that you're a video content creator, model, rapper, visual artist. When did you realize you had a love for the arts? What was that moment for you?
The moment was when I realized that I couldn't stay away from it. I started creating literally probably before kindergarten. My mother always painted. She was an artist herself, so I have been exposed to that kind of environment. Um, and it's just something that I never get bored of, and it keeps me happy, and it's a very good coping mechanism. So.
Okay, I love that. When it comes to video content creating, when did you start getting into YouTube and social media video creating? And how did you decide on your niche?
I got into YouTube in about 2012. So I was probably like 10 years old at the time. I was just taking my computer and recording little videos on my webcam. I would take my mom's phone or her camera and just start doing little videos. So that's when it all started. And then throughout the years, I just continued to get better progressively. I taught myself to edit, and I just found myself constantly on my phone, like, hey guys, whether it be on Snapchat or YouTube. So how I found my niche, though, just like gaining inspiration throughout the years. I've always been into self-care, so that's always been something that I've tried to prioritize throughout most of my content.
Nice. What have been some of the challenges that you faced trying to grow your audience and brand?
I mean, one of the biggest challenges is me being so multidimensional, because I feel that when you do so many different things, it can be hard for your supporters to catch up. So it's like, if I make a video talking about mental health, and then the next week I'm posting a song, and the things in that song might be particularly kind of like, I don't know, like sometimes ignorant, but sometimes in a very funny way. And I think you can tell when I'm joking, but sometimes they might not realize that. So I guess the hardest part is like trying to keep everybody engaged, because some people might be in tune with one thing, and then they might see another thing I do, and they might be like, oh, but weren't you just doing that? So that's one of the difficult things, but also just the algorithm. I feel like social media these days makes it very hard to bring people up who are talented. I feel like social media is very focused on like looks, and it's been very hard, like just catching that algorithm, and I guess getting many views can be hard at times for sure. So
Yeah, I feel that. I understand that completely.
yeah.
I ran across some of your modeling work and it's amazing. How did you start modeling and how do you feel about the modeling fashion industry?
So modeling, I wouldn't really consider myself a model. I consider myself someone who likes to take pictures of herself. I do it from time to time just to bring in extra money. How I feel about the industry, I'll be honest, I think it's very shallow, and I pose no hatred toward anybody who is pursuing it as a career. But I just think that it's self-obsessed. Modeling industry causes people to hate themselves. Someone like, me, for example, some people might call me a plus size model, because they might say I have thick thighs or I have thick arms. Oh, because I'm not, super skinny like Bella Hadid or something. So it's causing so many women across the globe to want to look like something that's just unrealistic. And I always try to encourage people to love yourself in the most healthy way. So something like the modeling industry has caused me to hate myself a lot, because I would try to live up to these expectations, and not to mention that I don't really fit the typical model demographic, the tall, the skinny, So for the longest time, I didn't like, what God gave me, because I was too focused trying to impress those people working in this industry. So how do I feel about it? I'm not quite fond of it, but I salute anyone who's doing it successfully.
Yeah, I really appreciate that honesty, and that's going to send out a great message to everyone watching. Um, do you remember your first couple modeling bookings, and what was that experience like for you?
Huh. I'm really trying to think of that. I think one of my first modeling bookings was probably for a music video. There is an artist, I believe this artist's name is King Carter or Sir Carter. My apologies if you see this. But I did a music video with him. It was an amazing time. But a lot of my first shoots were definitely video and things like that. And then I think my first like photo shoot was probably a test shoot with this photographer. I think his name was Parsons. So it was just a quick little test shoot. He was helping me out because I had a friend who knew him. So he did it for free, and he's like one of the best photographers. So
Nice.
yeah,
I have to look him up.
yeah, maybe.
In 2021, you released a single called Bugatti, and in 2022, you released an EP called Pain Through Evolution. Great projects. How did recording music come along for you?
Well, when I first moved to LA, I think this was March 2021. I had a friend, and he came over to my house once, and he brought some recording equipment. And I was like, dude, you should record me. Because, fun fact, before I moved to LA, I had a toxic ex, and that's who I ran away from by going to LA. And I was always writing music, but he never really encouraged me to pursue it. And at the time, I was, working a 9-to-5 job for a very pristine company. And I really didn't tap into that musical side of me. And so once I left him, I decided I wanted to try something new. And so I also used music as an outlet to, kind of cope with that pain from that breakup. And so I had so much lyrics that I was saving. And so when I met that friend, I was like, yeah, let's record. And I met a manager. It took some time for us to get to that point of her managing me. But then, she was paying for my sessions, so I had resources at the time. But when we stopped working together at some point, I just tried anyone that was willing to record me for free. I would take those opportunities, sometimes even record on my phone, just always trying to make something.
I love that. And I love that name, Pain Through Evolution. I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Yeah.
Finding your voice and style for a lot of artists can be difficult. Was putting those projects together difficult? And as far as finding studios, engineers, writing, and discovering different flows?
It was definitely difficult to put those projects together because when I was living in LA at the time, I didn't have that much inspiration. The only type of inspiration I really did have, it was for like material things. At the time, I was on completely different timing than I am now. I was a lot less self-aware. I wanted the nice cars. I wanted the Gucci. I wanted the bust-down middle part lace front, But it didn't work out for me because now I value freedom. I value peace. I know that I can have those things once I make more money. So the purpose of me trying to do that is, to live a better life. But at the time, when I was doing music, again, my only inspiration was kind of greed. I wanted to impress. And so, at the time, making music, writing songs was incredibly difficult because I think my intention of making music was completely off. And it was different than it is now. So I experienced a lot of creative block. And so trying to write songs during that time definitely was hard, for sure. And finding the studio time, finding people to record me, that's especially difficult because as a woman in this industry, you already know there are going to be so many people. Oh, let me record you for free. Oh, I got you. But they just want to be next to you. So.
Yeah, it's very hard to bypass that, but I'm really excited to hear your new music and to hear the growth in it.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, creative-wise, and what are you focusing on project-wise?
Next for me, creatively, I'd say music again. Right now, I have been solely focused on YouTube because that's where I'm getting the most success and that's where I'm pulling in like the biggest audience. My plan with that is once I get to probably like 100,000 subscribers, which I know will be soon, I get more money, I get more exposure, things like that. Then I'll start pushing my music since I'll have a bigger audience. Hopefully, I'll find management, people that can invest in me. Because right now I can't afford like to really keep up a music career. And once I do that, I think that music will definitely be the next go. But I'm just focused right now on what I can do just within my bedroom. So
Yeah, I honestly think that's a great plan, honestly. Apart from creative work, what do you do on your spare time?
I work out a lot. I clean a lot. I thrift. Randomly come up with new hairstyles sometimes if I'm bored. Hang out with like the 2 friends I have. And sometimes I'll just walk around, I'll just, stare at the sky.
I love that. As a creative and a visual artist, you need like a lot of alone time and like just time to mellow out.
Mm-hmm.
And before we wrap this up, where can people find you on social media, YouTube? We got to get you to the 100K on YouTube.
Of course. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Muahrah, Muahrah. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sitting with me today. Nice to meet you.
You as well. Thank you.
Next stop, Model Pick Station.